Hello everyone, and welcome back to Tuka's Stories. Have you ever written something, but never found the courage to send it a thank you, an apology, or maybe just a simple birthday card? Today I'll tell you a story about Tien, who once found a card like that, lying quietly in front of her mother-in-law's room. That morning, the night rain had just stopped. The road was still wet, mirroring the pale light of dawn like a giant sheet of glass. Jack steered his white pickup slowly onto the small road leading back to his mother's house. Beside him, Tien sat quietly, her hair falling with the breeze, one hand resting on a cloth bag filled with a few things they had come to collect. They planned to stop by Mother Loy's home to pick up some of Jack's old belongings, a few notebooks, a jacket, little keepsakes his mother had kept neatly in her cupboard. Her two-story house stood in a quiet lane of the town. Tien had always liked it, not only for the faint scent of roses from the backyard, but for the calm that seemed to settle over her every time she walked through the weathered iron gate. Mother Loy greeted them with a gentle smile. "Ah, you're here already. I just made some tea, it's still hot." Her voice was warm, unhurried, full of affection. The whole house seemed brighter the moment she spoke, even though the sky outside was still gray. Tien set the bag on the table and helped her tidy up a few things. Jack went upstairs to the room where his mother still kept his belongings in order. Each footstep on the wooden stairs sounded faint and familiar, like the echo of time itself. Upstairs, sunlight slanted through the window into the small room. The old wooden cabinet was still there, a family photo resting on top, father, mother, and son. Tien looked around and felt a quiet warmth rise in her chest, that strange mix of comfort and longing that comes when you meet something familiar you haven't touched in years. While sorting through a few items, she noticed something slip softly to the floor, a small card, golden edge, slightly faded. It had fallen just outside the doorway of Mother Loy's room, as if the wind itself had carried it there. She bent down to pick it up, curiosity flickering in her eyes. On the cover were the words, "To my daughter-in-law, the one I love like my own child." Tien froze. Her heart beat a little faster. Something tender and unexpected was unfolding inside her. She hesitated for a moment, then opened it. The handwriting was soft and even the kind of steady script that belongs to a woman who grew up writing letters by hand. The paper smelled faintly of the tea her mother-in-law always drank. "Thank you for being by Jack's side, for loving him the way I always have. Thank you for walking with him through the hardest days when I could not be there. I wish you peace and strength, and that gentle heart of yours never change. May you both always find quiet happiness in the home you build together." The words stopped there unfinished. No signature, no date. Tien sat on the edge of the bed, the card resting in her hands. Outside, the breeze stirred the leaves along the porch, and birds called softly into the damp air that lingered after rain. She didn't know why the card had ended up here, nor when Mother Loy had written it. But every stroke of ink, every pause between the lines warmed her heart in a way she couldn't quite name. She sat there for a long while, fingertips brushing the faded words. She read them again and again, as though afraid to miss a single thought her mother-in-law had tried to leave behind. Part of her wanted to call Jack up to see it too, but another part knew better. Some things, she thought, are meant to be kept quietly, as a small, unexpected gift from a mother's heart. Tien folded the card gently, her eyes lingering on its worn edges. She smiled a soft, unthinking smile, the kind that appears when someone rediscovers a hidden memory and lets it rest unspoken. Footsteps echoed softly from the stairs. Jack appeared carrying a small box of old belongings. "All done?" he asked. Mom says lunch is almost ready." Startled, Tien set the card back on the table. "Almost," she said quickly. Jack glanced her way, noticed the faint fluster in her hands, but said nothing. He simply smiled, placed a hand on her shoulder, a light touch that felt enough to steady the world. That afternoon, the three of them shared lunch together. Mother Loy was just as she always was, calm, cheerful, occasionally placing food on their plates, smiling with her eyes. "You two look thinner," she teased softly. "Been busy," Jack chuckled. "Just finishing up the work at the farm. Mom, almost done." "Good," she said, her voice warm as soup on a rainy day. "Once it's settled, you'll have peace of mind." The meal passed gently, laughter here, the clink of spoons, there the comforting smell of rice and home. In that moment, Tien realized happiness didn't have to be grand or loud. Sometimes it was simply this three people sharing food, a familiar house filled with quiet contentment, the small sound of someone's laughter. After lunch, while Mother Loy went outside to pick a few greens, Tien returned to the small room upstairs. The card still rested where she'd left it. She lifted it once more, turning it over. Blank on the back. No more words, no signature, only a faint ink stain like the mark of a hand that had lingered too long. Maybe she never sent it. Tien whispered because she felt she didn't need to. Her gaze drifted around the room, the photos, the cabinet, the flowers on the shelf, each carrying a trace of time like the card itself. Everything simple yet steeped in a love that needed no explanation. From her bag, she took a small envelope. She slipped the card inside and placed it gently back in the cupboard, the very spot she imagined it once belonged. She told no one, not Jack, not Mother Loy. Some things were more beautiful when left untouched. When they left later that afternoon, the sun had returned. Golden light spilled across the roof, and the air smelled faintly of roses from the porch. Jack started the truck, the breeze carrying that scent through the cabin. Tien turned back. Mother Loy stood by the doorway, one hand shading her eyes, smiling the same quiet smile she always did. Tien smiled back, a warmth unfurling inside her, as if some invisible thread now tied them together, soft, steady, and unbreakable. On the drive home, Jack played a slow piano piece. The melody drifted through the hum of wind. "Mom's doing well lately, huh?" he said. "She's always well," Tien answered, voice low and tender. "She just loves us, maybe too much." She looked out the window. The rows of trees blurred past, and in her chest grew a silence, not empty, but full of something beautiful and still. That night back home, she took out a small card of her own. Not to send, just to keep. "Thank you, Mom," she wrote, "for loving me in the gentlest way there is." She placed it inside a drawer beside a framed wedding photo. The light from the porch fell through the window, painting a quiet line across the desk, just like the afternoon sun at Mother Loy's house. The story ended the way all soft things do, with silence and a whisper that seemed to float in the air. Sometimes the words we never send are the ones that stay the longest in the heart. Thank you for listening till the very end. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe so we can meet again in another quiet little story from Tiuka's Stories. Until then, take care of your heart and keep a little peace for yourself.